What's up, my friends? You know what time it is? It's time to check out this watch from Carbinox. That's probably a dumb intro. Todd, is that dumb? Probably a little bit dumb. Can we just edit that out, like when in the editing process, just not put that into the final cut? I'll just redo it, and then we'll include that version. So I'm gonna redo that intro. Do not include this part of the intro, right? That was stupid, right? I don't know what I was thinking. All right, we're gonna start over, okay? All right. What's up, my friends? A company called Carbinox has sent me a cool watch to check out. They market these guys to be very durable. In fact, they even say on here, we make smartwatches, but stronger. And specifically, like, they market it towards, you know, people who maybe work construction, maybe law enforcement, maybe military, right? I've known plenty of people, like, while in the Army that usually just went with cheap watches because often you're gonna like bang it up against stuff. You're maybe low crawling, doing all sorts of stuff in the field or whatever. It's gonna get scratched up and jacked up. So you usually didn't want to have an expensive watch. So you usually got something just cheap from, you know, wherever store that was maybe only like 20 bucks or less. But this one is specifically kind of marketed towards that kind of, you know, individual, that kind of lifestyle. So they sent me one, put it through the ringer a little bit, you know, so we'll show off that and kind of check out what it can do. And maybe, hey, maybe it's the watch that you've been looking for. So we'll get this bad boy opened up. We'll check out what this watch looks like and see what it's all about. All right, so I'm gonna here, sword to get this box open with. Oh, this is so dangerous. It's probably a bad idea. This is a bad idea. We won't do that. That's a pain in the ass. All right, there we go. Here we go. All right, so we got the box. I got the X-Ranger Black. So I thought, you know, that'd be kind of cool. You know, unleash your full power and strength with a smartwatch that actually resists. So yeah, this is the X-Ranger Black. Let's check out what we've got. Check out the box. Welcome to your new experience. Are you ready for your lifetime smartwatch? Enjoy your Carbinox. All right, so we open it up. We got a little booklet, probably some important information inside about how to utilize this watch, how to do all the things that you need to be doing with the watch and everything. So shows us how to sync it up. Looks like shows us how to set stuff up. So kind of check that out. When I go to set up the process, we got open this. You'll need it. So we got a nice little packaging here. Got the watch right here. Pulls right on out. Very well packaged, so it can't get banged around and fly all over the place. Pull off the little plastic covering off of there. Very nice. Very, very glossy, if you can tell from there. I'll probably get some nice close-ups a little later on though, but very nice. And then we got this part that says open this, you'll need it. So assuming you probably need it. So I manhandle it, probably opened it a lot easier than it's supposed to, but oh, it's the charger. Yeah, I will need it, you know, I'll need to charge it. I think this thing has a really long battery life too, so that's always nice to be able to have a battery in a watch that'll last a long time. So there you go, that's what's inside the box. The more important thing is, how does this thing work? How can, you know, how durable is it? What are the features and everything? And to give you a proper understanding of that, I'm gonna try it out. This is gonna be my daily watch for the next, you know, several days or whatever, so I can get a feel for it. It feels very nice and kind of got some weight to it, kind of feels very durable and very tough, feels very premium. So I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna kind of utilize this for my daily watch for a while, get used to the features, and then we'll reconvene here at the video and you won't even notice a thing. It'll just be boom, in the blink of an eye, in a millisecond, and I don't know. We'll flash to it here in a second. I'll let you know what I thought of the watch and what all can it do. So see you here in a split second. And we're back. I have now had this watch for about a week now, maybe just slightly more than a week. Originally, when I first got the watch, I charged it all the way to 100%, and I have not charged it since then. And we are currently sitting at 29% battery still. So that is really good. I think they say you can approximately get about 10 to 15 days of normal use. I'm at 7 and I can still go several days, probably more. And it probably is gonna depend on like how much you're using it, but nonetheless, watch is pretty cool. Let's talk about some of the features of this watch and then I'll kind of get into a little bit more of my impressions. So I am using it with Android. I have a Samsung S23 Ultra, works just fine. It also is compatible with iPhones as well, so you can have an Android phone or an Apple phone, and this watch will work with either one. Now, some of the specifications of the X-Ranger, which also are very similar with the other watches too. I mean, maybe some minor things here and there, but these specifications for the X-Ranger is very, very similar, if not in some cases maybe exact to some of the other watches with some minor tweaks here and there for the specifications. But it is made for full metal for the bezel and the body. It has a water rating of IP69K. I wasn't too familiar with what IP69K is. I've always heard IP68, and IP69K is even higher. I had to look into it a little bit, but one of the main things with IP69K is that it can handle things like high pressure, high temperature, water jets. So like in a hot tub, you know, you're fine, you're good. High temperatures and everything. All sorts of kind of a little bit more advanced things than just simply being waterproof. It's a little bit more hardcore. It has multiple like sports modes for like when you're working out. It's got a battery life that's estimated around 10 to 15 days with regular use. The display is a 1.43 inch AMOLED display. It has a heart rate sensor, a pedometer sensor. It also can do your blood pressure, your oxygen levels as well. Now the display is pretty tough, and we're actually going to talk about that here in a minute. It's called Panda tempered glass, and it's also scratch resistant and everything, so it's pretty tough. That's one of the key things I feel like. If you're somebody who's like maybe in the military, law enforcement, other kind of environments that just, you're pretty rough on watches, right? You don't want to spend some money on a smartwatch that's going to get messed up when you bang it around or do all sorts of crazy stuff. And they specifically designed this to be actually pretty tough. In fact, when they sent me this watch, they told me to put it through some tests, right? It's not indestructible, so I can't, you know, go and start shooting weapons at it and try to see if it's bulletproof type of thing. But nonetheless, it can handle some good wear and tear of someone who's pretty rough on watches. So it started off real basic, right? I banged up against the wall. It did just fine. It was able to handle that, no problem. I don't notice any scratches on the display or anything after that. Then I stepped it up a little bit, you know, dropped it several times, you know, on the ground and everything. Still seemed pretty good, seemed fine, everything worked. I even ran it over with a bike. Then I ran it over with another bike. And just to be sure, I ran it over with my truck, and baby Chaos was not as confident in the watch as Carbinox, I think, was.
It looks like it got broken. Yep, that's broken. It has a crack. It's broken. Yep, it's broken.
Nope, it's still good. But it was good. It's fine. Now, it does have some scratches on like the metal part of it, but I don't see anything on the display. On the display, it looks still just as good as it did. There are some little, you know, kind of like scratches and little kind of markings on the metal part of the watch from, you know, running it over with the bike and running it over with the truck possibly and stuff, maybe even dropping it, I don't know, but the display itself is fine. Now this is a smartwatch, so it can do quite a few things. I mean, you can do the normal things you probably would expect from a smartwatch. You can, you know, check your text messages, you can check your heart rate and everything, as I was mentioning earlier. You can, you know, do different workouts to kind of track your workouts, track your sleep and everything. You can even make phone calls off of it too. You can even bring up the dialer to dial a phone number, access your contacts, and it actually has a speaker and a microphone built into the watch itself, so that way you can leave your phone into your pocket or in a vehicle, whatever the case is, and as long as you're still connected to your phone, obviously, then you can still make some phone calls. There are a lot of free watch faces that I've seen on their app. They have an app that comes along with it for the companion app, and there's a lot of watch faces you can choose from. I notice there's also a lot of like seasonal ones too, so if you're someone who wants to like change it out during the seasons and everything, different holidays, we got a lot of those, and it's also very easy like switch between different watch faces, like even on the watch itself. I'd say the watch is probably pretty good for, especially like, you know, I'm kind of catering a lot of this video content that I do here on this channel for like military individuals possibly, but also it can be a lot of other individuals as well. But I mean, you know, I feel like that's one of the key things. Like me being an Army veteran, you know, I remember going out to the field, and some of the key features of this watch that I think is good is one, the battery life, and two, how durable it is. because you're out in the field and you have to, you know, do some, whatever it is, your missions and everything like that, and you don't want to go and, you know, break a smartwatch that you had paid good money for type of thing. So I feel like this can easily handle, you know, that kind of lifestyle, that kind of work environment. And then the battery life is great. You're going to the field for like a week, you're going to the field for maybe even 2 weeks. You might be able to like stretch it a little bit if you have some time where you're kind of not using it super heavily, possibly. But that I think is pretty nice compared to like normal smartwatches, you know, some of the main competitor type of watches. Most of those watches can only last maybe one single day, maybe a day and a half on a single charge. So I think not having to plug this in every single night is a big advantage, especially for like military individuals. They're gonna be out on in the field or out on mission, whatever the case, and not needing to charge it every night is pretty convenient. When you're not looking at the display, it does turn off. There is an option for you to be able to have the display always on, but of course, that's gonna drain the battery a lot faster compared to having it to where it's like a raise to wake, you know, so kind of like a lot of other smart watches, you know, where you just raise up your hand to look at your face, you know, to look at the watch, you know, to see what time it is. It'll kind of just automatically turn on. Speaking of like the battery life, it's pretty fast to charge too. I noticed that when I first got it, I think the battery was already at like 40, 50%, something like that. And I was able to easily charge it up to 100%. I think maybe it was only like an hour, maybe even less than that. So I did notice it does charge pretty quick. So if you do get to the point where you run down the battery, I think they estimate that it only takes about 2 or 3 hours to fully charge the watch. So fast charging essentially is pretty convenient too. I think the watch is good. Like my personal opinion, I think it's a good watch, you know, especially for individuals that are rough on watches. I know I've talked to people before where, you know, showing this watch off at work and everything and telling people about it, and they were talking about like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know, I'm pretty rough on watches. I'm working on my car at home, or I'm doing things around the house and everything. I'm always worried about, you know, breaking a nice watch. So I always just stick to the really cheap ones that you might get for like 20 bucks or whatever. So maybe they think that this one would probably be a good alternative to not having to worry about, you know, breaking it, because it's probably going to handle the conditions. So I do like that aspect of it, right? I have other smartwatches that I'm sometimes worried about, you know, certain things that I'm doing. I don't want to break it because it was expensive or whatever. I don't know how durable it is, and I don't want to test that like I did with this one. But with this one, you know, I feel pretty confident, especially after kind of running it through a few tests and everything here and there. And, you know, it probably can handle even more than that. And, you know, it's not indestructible, but it can handle quite a bit. So this would probably be a definite, you know, go-to watch that I would want to utilize when I'm doing, you know, a lot of things that maybe I'd normally worry about other smartwatches getting messed up with. So if you're interested in this watch, I'll have a link down in the description box down below. I would recommend it, right? It's gonna be personal opinion out there, but definitely, you know, if you fall into those categories, you're worried about breaking watches, you need something that's gonna last more than a single day on a charge type of thing. You want something to be able to check your text messages, answer your phone call if you need to, maybe even track, you know, some of your health a little bit here and there as an added bonus and everything else. But I would say, you know, there's a lot of people out there that probably could use a good durable watch like this that can have a pretty good battery life too. So check out the link down in the description box. Drop some comments down below. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. If you want to check out some more unboxing videos, check out these guys that I got right there. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time. See ya.